So today is November 20th, 2025. Just released my first album, There's Always Something, and it's been a long time in the works. I started working on this album 9 months ago, and I pretty much had no experience and definitely had no money. um, but I had just last December gotten an audio interface, and I've been playing guitar. This is my first guitar since I was 9, but writing songs for about a year by then. So I wanted to start recording them, so I was watching millions of different YouTube tutorials and stuff, and just kind of started doing it, posting it on YouTube, and friends and family watched it, and it was fun. The first few were a little rough, but they were good learning experiences. So back in February, I wrote the song Mount Rubidoux, and I don't know, something about that song just felt different from all my other ones that I had done, and I really liked it. So I put it on YouTube, and I was like, okay, I should do like an EP or something. I'll put it out maybe in May, like February at the time. It seemed like forever away. Probably get it done by then. So I started working on it, just kind of like, I think I had 5 songs. I think probably only 2 of them ended up. I remember one that was really early on that I wrote was Please Don't Be You. And I really liked that one. That was the first one that I kind of recorded with like intent of like, okay, this is gonna be a project together. And I really liked that. Off to a strong start. I think that was like mid-May that I finished that one. So already then it took me forever to just even write the songs and get it out. And so then I was like, okay, cool. So then I started throwing together a couple other songs, and I don't know, they didn't click with the rest of it. Didn't feel right. And I really wanted to do an album. I kind of was coming to that understanding more and more. I love albums, like albums that work together, not necessarily like a concept album, but just like albums that are sequenced well, have a main idea and thought that just like get across, and it kind of works together more holistically than as parts. I just think that's really cool when music can do that. So I remember I was talking to a friend, and he was like, just do an album. Because I was thinking, some people had told me like, oh, you should do an EP. That way it's more digestible for people, get new listeners in. But at a certain point, I was like, probably no reason. Not many people are gonna listen to this. Friends and family and stuff. And so really, I was just making it for people I knew and myself. And so I was like, I'm just gonna do it. So originally, I kept pushing back the date. There's like been a million dates, but I wanted to get it done by my church's youth conference, so that I could like perform one of the songs live, and then I could say, hey, this album's out right now on Spotify, listen, and get people to listen. But that far from happened. But I did perform Mount Rubidoux live, and my guitar's pickup wasn't working, so they had to mic it up, so I was not used to that. Just kind of like singing out in front. It was weird, but people liked it. So then after that, I just kind of like struggled I was like, where is this going? What am I doing with this? I can't remember. Oh, I have another friend. He had been listening. He's older than me. He's a great producer. So his brother Wyatt. If you want to check it out on Spotify. But he was like, you should come over and we can work on some stuff. So I had a couple songs that I was working on at that point, and one that we both really liked was Mainstream Music, and I had a completely different version of it that kind of had like some weird guitars, and I don't know, it wasn't very good. But Nolan really helped me like just get that the sound that I wanted across, and I really liked how that song turned out, and that kind of like pushed me. I was like, I remember he mastered it too, and that was like kind of something that was worrying me for. I was like, wow, I've got a track here that's mixed, mastered, and like good. Like I really like it. And so that, I don't remember when that was, but that kind of gave me the boost. I was like, okay, I can do this. So I remember I had so few tracks too, that I was like, I could get away with like a 6 song album, maybe a 7 song album. And then I had like these little sort of interlude tracks. I had that idea for and so we beat on with the cassette, and like that's a Great Gatsby reference. I had that idea, and I finally did that, and I was like, whoa, that sounds super cool. And I was like, that's like a full track, so I can count that. And I don't know, I really was just wanting to get it out and kind of rush it. So I think like in July and August, I was kind of like trying to be like, yeah, it's probably good enough. It's probably good enough. I remember my uncle, he was like, don't release anything that you'd regret. Like, there's no rush. You don't have anybody waiting on it really yourself. Like, make sure it's something you would want to be out in the world before you release it. And so it's just this kind of balance of like fighting like a perfectionism, like it's never going to be good enough, but then also like wanting to get it out. So I can't remember what other tracks are on the album. So I think the original track list that I had, and it was only like, the album was only like 20 minutes long, was And So We Beat On, Mount Rubidoux, and Please Don't Be was the second song, which is weird now that I think about it. Somebody pointed that out to me, and thank you for that person. And the Main Street Music, El Portel, that was the other one. I wrote that one in July, and I kind of wrote it, and I was like, I don't know, I don't like it, it's kind of cheesy, but after I kind of like worked on the lyrics, I was like, I actually really like this. And I had another song that was gonna be the closer, and it was like this big sort of epic thing with a slide guitar solo, and I don't know, it just felt wrong for the album. Like, so there's two types of album closers. There's like the big bombastic sort of, this is the finale songs, and those work really well for some albums. And then you have the kind of like quieter ones that just kind of like say goodbye, like motion picture soundtrack from Kid A, or yeah, so songs like that. I really like when a song can do that. So after listening to El Portel for a while, I was like, this is the closer, and I worked on it. I started working back in May and saved up. I got a new Jazz Master, my first ever Fender, and super nice. So I laid down the acoustic guitar, and I did it differently because I couldn't like get the guitar take and the vocal take separately, which is weird. Sometimes it's the complete opposite. I can't sing while I'm playing the guitar for some of my songs. I can now, but it would take a bit. But that one, so I set up, it was the first, remember, I'd set up 2 microphones and sang and played guitar at the same time, just put it all in, and like not to a click or anything, I just played it, and then I was like, okay, that sounds really cool. And then I kind of did that little electric guitar part, and then I did the whistle too, and I really liked that. So I was like, okay, I really like this. So I kind of was like, okay, this is done. I did And So We Beat On. I had that chord progression for a while and the like sample of my pastor at the end. So I was like, okay, this is it. I think it was like 19 minutes long, and it's like, but it's 7 songs, it's an album, it's an album. I remember my family and I were listening to it, and my parents were like really encouraging, you know, like, yeah, it's really good. And they're like, I think you need a few more songs. I think like you need to, don't just add songs, you know, to add songs, but it needs to be rounded out a bit. So I was like kind of stuck for a while. It was like late August-ish, and I was like, what do I do? What do I add? And I think the first one, it was oh no, I forgot about May Gray too. That one it was actually July Gray, but it was like a cloudy day, and I was feeling kind of like depressed, and had to go to work, and it was like super hot, but it was still cloudy, so it was like really humid, and I decided to mic up the piano for the first time. I just kind of mic'd it up without even a song written, and I kind of wrote it really in just like a morning. And I really liked the like piano part, and I kind of came up with like that subtle synthesizer bit. So it's definitely the most stripped back one on the album, but I really liked how that one turned out, and it just kind of flowed and fit together. And so, but I felt like I needed 2 more songs. I felt like 9 tracks, like, you know, like close to 30 minutes. I was like, okay, that's like an album. So I don't know, I get to this point where like you're writing songs, and you like write a good song, like, oh man, I'll never write a good song again. You kind of just like clunk around on the guitar for a while, and nothing sounds good, and then eventually you're kind of, you know, playing something you've played forever, and then like a new idea strikes you. So I remember I was playing Blackbird by the Beatles, which is like one of the first fingerstyle songs I learned, and I always like the like chord structures of it, so I kind of like took that, and then that was for All the Times I Did Mass, and I just like that. And then I really liked the vocal melody they came up with, and the lyrics just kind of flowed, and I was like, that was a good song. I like that. I don't know where that came from. So I tracked it, and it kind of became my another like very stripped back song with just like the doubled acoustic and the bass and the vocals, and I really liked how that turned out. So I was like, okay, that's another one. I had one more and I should be good. So I remember, I think I was at like an estate sale with my family, and of course whenever I'm at those places I just look for like a guitar and instrument I can just like mess around with while they're looking for stuff. So I found some like cheap guitar and I was like strumming, and then one of my favorite songs too is 1979 by the Smashing Pumpkins. And I just liked how simple that riff was, and I would play that like forever. So it's just like play things. You'll play something you've played like a million times, but then something will strike out at you. So I like that like E string ringing open. So I kind of like came up, and I don't know where it came from. And then I came up with and then it was kind of another situation where it's just like the lyrics flowed. I originally had like another bridge chorusy section, but I was like, nah, I don't need that. The lyrics flowed, it all flowed, and I was like, this could be like, I remember I was like, they're kind of very introspective, like sadder songs, but my uncle was like, you should have like an upbeat song, and I'm like, yeah, maybe, and then I was like, oh, that could be kind of cool. So the lyrics just kind of came. I liked how they sounded, and then I had that, and I was like, I could put a guitar solo on there, and so I did that, and I was like, the first time I'd recorded myself playing like a lead guitar, like lead guitar, and I was like, oh, that sounded kind of cool. So I don't know, I just did it, and it sounded good. But the original mix, it was my first time like mixing like a rock song, and so like I had a bunch of like distorted guitars and like the bass and stuff. But the one thing I don't play, which I hope to change soon, is I don't play the drums. At least I don't have a drum set, and so first few songs I would use kind of like MIDI keyboard thing, but I really don't like how that sounds. It sounds fake. Maybe somebody could do it better than I can, but when I do it, it sounds fake. So I was like, maybe it needs drums, and my uncle's like, yeah, that song needs drums. So I then began the long search for drums, and eventually a friend up in Idaho who's a fantastic drummer, you know who you are, thank you, he was able to do just a quick 2-mic setup of his drum kit and laid it down, sent it to me while I was flying home from Indiana, and I kind of put it in, and I never mixed drums before. So I kind of put it together, and I was like, ooh, that drums sound good, but the mix sounds weird. So my uncle's like, I'll help you. So sent him over the files, and he mixed and mastered that one for me with, some kind of feedback. I originally had like kind of like a stroke, sort of like distorted vocal, but I don't know, it didn't sound right, so kind of cleaned up the vocals, and yeah, it all came together. And I think he sent that to me maybe like, I think the final version he probably sent over in like October, like later October, and then I kind of put it all together. I've been thinking maybe Matt Rubino needs drums, maybe Please Don't Be has drums. I actually recorded some drums, and thank you for people who did that for me, even if I didn't end up using it. But it kind of prompted me, I was like, I just really like the masters I have right now. I had kind of gone through and mastered them, which is just like Logic preset masters that I kind of tweaked and stuff. Logic presets, very helpful. But yeah, so then I just had listened to these masters so many times, and I really liked how they flowed together, and they just sounded good to me, and nothing else I could kind of like get to that point. And I was like, I think these are the songs. So I was like, I think this is it. So I put it together. I had that album photo forever, and I originally was gonna be like cool and like not put any text on it, but then my dad was like, you should put text on it, nobody's gonna know what that is. And I was like, yeah, you're right. So my sister, who's on the album, she does some backup vocals. She has a really great voice. I need to put her more on my next album with harmonies and stuff, but she's a really good graphic designer too, so she put the text on there, and I really liked how that looked, and she helped me. I was like, I should make some CDs, and then a friend of mine was like, you should do release parties and play some of the songs live. So I made 50 CDs, and just the other day I picked them up, picked up the CD inserts. My sister did like a lyric sheet and all that, and it looked really cool, and my whole family helped me fold the sheets and label the CDs, and my dad used his work CD burner and did it all, and put it all together with the cheap Guitar Center cases, and I don't know, it felt like official. I was like, dang, this is cool. And then just last night, I was kind of waiting around. I was like, it's supposed to be on there. It showed up on like Apple Music as like a pre-release, but not on Spotify. So I was kind of like stressing out. I was like, man, is it even gonna show up? And then I look and it's all there. And then I, put up all my information, all my, photos and stuff. And it's like, I listened to it on there, and friends started listening to it. And I was like, that's crazy. It's out. It's kind of been like, for 9 months, it'd been something, it seemed like I'd never even finish it. It'd be like my forever project, but it's done. I can't touch it, and no matter if there's something that bugs me, but I don't know, I go back and forth. I think I am proud of how the songs turned out. Yeah, I do like them. And so I'm doing a release party tonight. I'm for some friends and family. I'm gonna play them live, sell some CDs, reinvest whatever I make back into music. I want to get like a drum set and start working on the next one. I already have like a bunch of songs written for another project. I need to pace myself, but yeah, so it was more mentally and emotionally exhausting than I ever could have expected, but also so rewarding. And the Lord just saw me through, and there's so many times I was like praying, and I was like, Lord, I don't know why you gave me this talent. And sometimes it didn't feel much like a talent. I just like, I can't think of anything. I just remember so many nights just late, my guitar just like playing junk, and like writing, trying to come up with some sort of clever lyrics, and just praying. I was like, Lord, help me. I don't know what to do, but in the end, it's all for you. It's for your glory. So yeah, and he saw me through, and he's blessed me with family who's super supportive and excited. And my mom right now is like getting curtains and tablecloths ready for it. She wants to make it aesthetic for the photos and stuff. And my sister's all excited about doing album covers. I'm paying her for it. She was very excited about that too. And my dad's like listening to it on Spotify and like excited about it. I don't know, it's really cool. So it's done. It's like the first time in my life I've like finished a creative project. And really, like, for so many, last year when I was trying to get into recording, I looked at so many. I was like, I need this, and like to record and make music. But at some point you just gotta like start, and then eventually you'll get to where you want it to be. But I think I bought like a $30 audio interface that I found on Reverb that was way underpriced. I don't know why a person was selling for that, but thank you, whoever that was. I bought like the cheapest bass I could find because I knew I needed a bass. I didn't want like one of those cheap junk ones, so I found like some thrashed Squire bass from the 90s for like $70, and I got a cheap Behringer microphone. I upgraded though, I borrowed my dad's, but so for like with barely any recording equipment, my dad had Logic on our laptop, so I was able to use that, which was a blessing. And just with barely any skill or talent or anything, I was just able to do it over time. And so if you have any creative projects, I encourage you to just do it. There's always something, but in the end it's rewarding when it's done. So I don't know, this is super long, I might cut this down, but hope you enjoyed.